The most wanted thief in the world. Chapter 3. The first stop for our protagonist was an ATM where he took out some money. He went to a nearby store, got into a taxi and said, "Take me to the train station." The driver looked at him in surprise. "You're not from around here, are you?" John shrugged. "Nope, just passing through." Once they arrived at the station, John thanked the driver and ran to the ticket counter. He bought a ticket to London, and just as he made it, the train pulled out of the station. John breathed a sigh of relief as he sank into his seat. He decided to take a nap before it was time to wake up. As the train raced through the countryside, John slept peacefully, unaware that a woman had entered his compartment. She sat down across from him and took out a gun. When she realized that her target was asleep, she hesitated, not wanting to make a mess. However, the woman eventually made up her mind. She crept closer to John and whispered, "Wake up, John." John jolted awake, his heart pounding like a drum solo. The woman's face, obscured by a black mask, stared back at him with cold determination. "Grab your bag and get off the train," she commanded. Startled but obedient, John did as he was told. He grabbed his duffel bag and swiftly exited the train. The woman followed closely behind him, keeping a tight grip on the gun. They made their way through the bustling crowd until they reached a secluded spot away from prying eyes. With John's hands raised in submission, the woman searched his bag. To her disappointment, she found nothing of value. "Where is it? Where did you hide it?" she demanded, her voice echoing with frustration. Confused and frightened, John responded, "I don't know what you're talking about." The woman's eyes narrowed, her grip on the gun tightening. "Don't play dumb with me," she snarled. "I know you have it. Tell me where it is and I might show you some mercy." But John remained steadfast, his innocence evident in his wide-eyed stare. The woman cursed under her breath, realizing that she had made a mistake. She had targeted the wrong person. With a final warning glare, she fled into the crowd, disappearing from sight. Left alone, John slumped against a wall, his body trembling from the ordeal. The encounter had shaken him to his core, leaving him weak and vulnerable. As the adrenaline subsided, a new surge of determination coursed through him. John knew he couldn't stay in this town any longer. He needed to disappear, vanish without a trace. With newfound urgency, he turned and walked away from the spot, stepping into the labyrinth of city streets. His heart pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement, John began his journey into the bustling metropolis. He weaved through the crowds, his senses on high alert, searching for a place to hide, a place to start anew. The city, with its towering buildings and winding alleys, seemed to stretch endlessly before him, promising both danger and opportunity. John's eyes scanned every passerby, half expecting to see the menacing figure of the woman with the gun. But as the minutes ticked by, he realized that he had slipped through her grasp. For now, he had escaped her immediate pursuit, but the threat of her return lingered in the back of his mind. As dusk settled over the city, John found himself in a dingy, dimly lit motel. Its peeling paint and flickering neon sign offered little reassurance of the shelter within, but he was desperate for somewhere safe, and this was his only option. He pushed open the door to his room and stepped inside. It was small, sparsely furnished, and reeked of stale cigarette smoke, but it was a haven from the outside world, at least for the moment. John quickly unpacked his meager belongings, trying to make the room feel like his own. He washed his face in the sink, hoping to scrub away the grime of his journey and maybe even some of his past. As night fell, he lay down on the uncomfortable bed, the springs creaking beneath him. Sleep came fitfully, punctuated by nightmares of masked figures and the echo of gunshots. Each time he jolted awake, his heart pounded in his chest, a wild drumbeat in the silence of the night. But slowly, as the darkness deepened, he drifted back to sleep, haunted by the specter of the woman with the gun. And as he slept, The city outside the window sighed with the restless energy of the living, oblivious to the secrets hidden within its walls. Morning came with a harsh light that sliced through the thin curtains, pulling John from his uneasy slumber. He sat up, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, and trying to piece together the fragmented dreams that had plagued him during the night. The room was silent now, the only sound the distant hum of traffic. But the peace was deceptive, a mere lull before the storm. As the hours passed, John felt a gnawing emptiness in his stomach, a reminder that he had left most of his possessions, including his wallet and phone, behind in his hasty escape. He needed food and supplies, but venturing out of the motel room felt like stepping into the jaws of a beast. Fear warred with necessity, and he found himself frozen in place, unable to decide what to do. The standoff continued until the afternoon, when hunger finally got the better of him. He knew he couldn't stay cooped up forever. He had to face his fears and venture into the world. Taking a deep breath to steady himself, John opened the door and stepped out into the blinding light. He squinted, trying to adjust to the harsh glare. The world seemed vast and menacing, and he felt like a tiny, insignificant speck amidst the towering buildings and bustling crowds. With hesitant steps, he started to walk, each footfall echoing the pounding of his heart. The city streets were a cacophony of noise and movement. Cars honked impatiently, people hurried along the sidewalks, and the air buzzed with 1,000 different conversations. Overwhelmed, John felt like a character in a film, caught in a scene that was both terrifying and exhilarating. And then he saw it, a small cafe tucked away on a side street, its windows invitingly filled with light. Hope surged through him. Perhaps in this sanctuary he could find a moment's respite, a chance to gather himself before facing the next challenge. As he pushed open the door, the scent of freshly brewed coffee and pastries enveloped him, a warm embrace that promised comfort. John sat down at a table by the window, his eyes scanning the room. The cafe was cozy, filled with people absorbed in their books, laptops, or animated conversations. There was a soothing rhythm to the place, the gentle clinking of cups, the quiet murmur of voices, the hiss of the coffee machine. It was a world away from the menacing streets outside. He ordered a cup of coffee and a pastry, grateful for the warmth that spread through him, not just in body, but in spirit. It was a small victory, a moment of normalcy in a life that had become a series of desperate escapes and close calls. But even as he sipped the hot beverage, his gaze drifted to the door, always vigilant, always anticipating the next threat. The past few days had been a blur of frantic escapes and stolen cars. He had changed his appearance twice, growing a beard and changing his hair. Twice he had evaded the police, leaving them empty-handed and frustrated. But the authorities were persistent. He could feel their presence like a shadow, always close, never quite catching up. His current car, a sleek black Audi, was his latest acquisition. He had taken it from a used car lot, hot wiring it with practiced ease. It was powerful and responsive, a sleek Black Panther ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. John loved the car. It was more than just a means of transportation. It was an extension of his freedom, a tool for his survival. But now he was tired. The constant running, the stolen cars, the close calls with the police, it had taken its toll. He needed a break, a chance to catch his breath and plan his next move. John pulled the car over in a deserted parking lot and turned off the engine. The silence was deafening, broken only by the hum of the crickets. He leaned back in the seat, closing his eyes, willing his body to relax. But the calm didn't last long. A pair of headlights cut through the darkness, growing brighter, closer. John's eyes snapped open. Adrenaline surged through him, instantly alert. The car continued to approach, stopping a few feet away. The engine cut off and a man stepped out, his face illuminated by the car's interior light. John froze, his heart pounding in his chest. Was this finally the end? Had the police caught up to him? Or was this just another twist in his chaotic journey? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain, John's luck was about to run out, to be continued. Thanks for watching. If you liked this story, please leave a comment below and subscribe for more exciting stories. See you in the next one.